So apparently BuzzFeed lets anyone publish stuff on their website now, and one of the groups that took them up on this is none other than the Victims of Communism Foundation. Great, now we got clickbait and redbait all in one. So the article is called 10 Super Disturbing Ways Communism is Being Made Cool Again. Number 1 is actually dank memes and YouTube channels, but they don't know about that yet. The useful idiots of the Cold War are back from Hong Kong to Havana, so already this has a really loose definition of what's communist, since Hong Kong never had a socialist economy, but whatever. An ideology that killed more than 100 million. So now it's more than 100 million, apparently. The Black Book of Communism wasn't exaggerated enough, okay. Alright, so number 1, the Karl Marx piggy bank. That's pretty cute. For the hippest of hipsters and the politically ignorant, I don't know why someone who's politically ignorant would want this, if they just, like his beard or something? Instructions 1, deposit coins. 2, wait for jackbooted thugs to arrive at your home and put you and your children in prison for hoarding money from the state. What? How? That doesn't even make any sense. Hoarding money from the state? The state controls currency. It's not a resource. Already they're off to a bad start here. Okay, number 2. The 2014 Sochi Olympics. To a global audience in the billions, the Putin regime depicted its communist heritage as romantic and quaint era. You know, except for the mass starvations or gulags for political prisoners. Yeah, no shit, they don't show the worst part of their history. Why would they? Would the US show the history of native genocide and slavery? No, of course not. Number 3, Marxism for Dummies, the new IT book of 2014. That's funny, I don't remember a hugely popular book about Marxism coming out in 2014. Oh, I see this, because there was none. They're talking about Capital in the 21st Century by Thomas Piketty. You know, a left Keynesian, not a Marxist. Anyway, and then they make some criticisms of this Keynesian book, but I don't even know what they're talking about, because both those links are behind a paywall. Because I guess letting people have access to the arguments you're making for free would be just communism, right? Number 4, Hollywood's Cuban love affair. And we got Beyonce there, I guess. Looking all stylish. Yep, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Celebrities like Beyonce and Danny Glover make posh trips to Cuba while the Cuban people are starved, beaten, raped, and tortured by the authorities. Starved by the authorities? Really? I've never heard of any mass starvation that has happened since the Cuban Revolution. I mean, certainly there was some malnutrition during the special period because, you know, their major trading partner all of a sudden ceased to exist. But it's mainly a problem because the US is embargoing them, and so if they are starving, who's really doing the starving? Is it the Cuban government or the US government? Meanwhile, filmmakers like Michael Moore and gullible US legislators praise Cuban healthcare as quite remarkable. Yeah, that's because it is remarkable. Life expectancy went up 20 years, infant mortality only a quarter of what it was, closer to the US than any of these other poor Latin American countries. They're always coming up with new medicines, discovering new cures for diseases. They export doctors all around the world. The Cuban Revolution has been good for people's health worldwide, not even just in Cuba. Anti-communists can't deny this, so they just sneer at it like, how could something good happen in a communist country? That's ridiculous. Number 5, Che Guevara shirts, of course. Because who better to put on a t-shirt than a murderous, first of all, murderous guerrilla fighter? Yeah, that's what you do when you're a fighter. When you're fighting a war, you have to kill people, unfortunately. Racist, I assume that's referring to some old motorcycle diaries, some old diaries that he had. I'm pretty sure he wasn't racist by the time he went to Congo to, you know, help black people liberate themselves from capitalist and imperialist oppression. The Onion. Since when is that a Marxist news source? As this New Republic article explained back in February, America's finest news source basically offers much funnier versions of capitalist critiques in the German ideology and other Karl Marx classics. But it's not Marxist propaganda. They just make jokes that sometimes ridicule capitalism, and that makes it similar to Marxism because, you know, Marx is still relevant today. So these people are basically just offended that they made a joke questioning capitalism. Nuzzling with North Korea. So one celebrity went to North Korea and they're offended at that. Okay. Number 8, just celebrities in general. Cameron Diaz bought a bag with an infamous slogan of Mao, the communist leader who killed 45 million of his own people. They're talking about the famine during the Great Leap Forward here, which was partially caused by weather, but if it happens in a communist country, it must be caused by communism itself, I guess. Putin lovers. So this one guy likes Putin, and that's pro-communism because he's pining for the glory days of the Soviet Empire. Yeah, except without the communism. He just wants Russia to be big again. So no, that's not relevant at all. Number 10, revolutionary rabble-rousers. Okay, this is the one spot where they actually could have talked about someone who actually claims that they're trying to bring about a communist revolution, but instead they chose to show Democratic Socialists of America, like the most reformist of all the far left groups that's out there. Kind of shows you how much these people actually know about the left. They couldn't do something as basic as just showing a picture of someone who's actually a revolutionary Marxist. They chose DSA instead. Okay, conclusion. Here's why communism is not a laughing matter. Communism was responsible for the death of 100 million people worldwide in the 20th century. And guess what the source is? The Black Book of Communism. That's right, the book that everyone takes as gospel, even though the publishers admitted that the numbers were inflated by a factor of 10. And look, the point of this isn't to apologize for various crimes and other tragic events that have happened throughout history. The point is that these anti-communist groups use these tragic events as an ideological weapon. Their goal is to perpetuate the capitalist system by attacking dissent. The same capitalist system which, if we use their same logic and same reasoning, kills 100 million people every 5 years.
Keep resisting capitalism, baby!